Today I'm going to talk about a tech stack and let's just say what my tech stack looks like. Welcome to the Up in My Business podcast with me, Lex Lancaster, where you'll get an inside look at all things tech, business, and my life as a physical therapist turned digital operations expert. You'll hear all about my lessons as a business owner, the ins and outs of tech for your business, and more. From SEO, websites, and email marketing to automations, launches, and copywriting, I've got you. I'm so excited you're here. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Up in My Business. I am Lex, the host of Up in My Business. If you're new here, welcome. If you are a veteran listener, thanks for tuning back in. I will be covering a question that actually came into me last year. My note on my notes app says June 5th of 2025. So I know it's been a bit since this question has come in, but since then I have had other priorities on the podcast. And so today I'm going to answer this question. Before we get started, I want to let you know that next Monday is my birthday. Next Monday is my birthday, and I'll be doing a birthday sale for those who are on my newsletter list. So if you're not on my newsletter list, part of my newsletter family, you will not get notice about the birthday sale. So I'm going to be doing a birthday sale that I haven't decided exactly what it's going to be yet, but it will be on my self-led products. So if you have been eyeing a course that I offer and you are looking to get it at a discount, then that will be the time to do it. You know that I don't offer discounts more than twice a year. It's typically Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and my birthday. And I actually do not believe I've offered a birthday sale before, but I have structured it such that I'm going to plan to offer that yearly now. Just because it's easier to offer discounts for birthday and Cyber Monday, and it's a 2 times a year thing. And to be blatantly honest with you, I don't really promote my self-led products. So I don't know, just a way for me to promote that. And I think it's a great example of the fact that if you build it and it exists does not mean that people are just going to go buy it. I will tell you that I sell a few courses every here and there. But if I'm not actively promoting my stuff, they're not just selling in the background. And I think that's a really good lesson for anyone who assumes that they can just create a course and it will just sell itself, because that is not true. Blatantly, it's just not true. So I do allow for time within my business to promote certain things. And I do kind of talk about it in my emails, but it's really not, I don't make my emails and my free stuff the focus of selling my products. And I know that some people don't even, I will still get asked on discovery calls relatively, I don't want to say frequently because it's not frequently, but every once in a while I will get asked, or I will have a comment made, be like, oh, you're a physical therapist. So I know that, I'm not expecting everyone to know everything all the time. And I also know that that's just not how it is. I have been, doing this for jeepers creepers 8 years now. So it's I totally get that I don't expect people to know everything about me by any means, or the products that I offer. So that birthday sale is just a way for me to put that in front of folks and let people know that they can get started right away. And it's also a way to work with me that's not one-on-one or a coaching call. And, honestly, I'm very booked out. I know this. And I know that the courses that I offer, they are very good. And I strategically make them very tactical so that people can take those courses and get things out of them. I know that people are oftentimes want things done for them because they don't have the time to set aside to do a course. And I know that there's also a large amount of people who want to be able to do everything on their own. And so those courses exist for those folks. So yeah, just for what it's worth, we'll be doing the course sale. Outside of that, nothing new to report. I will say the writing class is going very well. I shared my art. Thank you to Mads for calling it art. I shared my art with 2 folks so far, and my instructor. And I will just say that I am I'm excited. I'm excited for what's to come out of this writing experience. I was completely gaslighting myself for a long time. I will say since undergrad. I took this course, the creative writing course, in 2014, I think. And so since then I've been gaslighting myself as far as like, you're not good. You're not good at this. Like, this is not something you should do. It's your writing is too much. To be blatantly honest with you, I don't do that about anything genuinely much in my life. I don't feel that way. But when it comes to the writing component, I definitely do. And I think it's a recipe of sharing my work prior and getting feedback on it from folks who don't necessarily put their own work out there. And that was a long time ago. And I also think just comparing myself to professional writers and what have you. But I will say that I'm excited. I'm excited that I received feedback from two people who are blatantly honest with me. Now, I don't think they would tell me it sucked by any means, but, because they're my friends and they would say like, good job. Like, I think this could be better. But they gave me really great feedback. And my professor, teacher, whatever we want to call her, she gave me some really stellar feedback and was really impressed with my first submission. So again, like I'm pumped about this. I don't know what I'm going to do with my writing yet. Again, I don't know. But so for now, it's like kind of a secret as far as like what I am writing about. I'm not even writing about a specific thing. It's just like how I write, and the things that I'm writing. I will say it's been really great for my creative brain. And lastly, before I jump into the episode, I bought 2 Lego sets, the Lego flower sets. I completed the first flower set already. It was so fun to do and I enjoyed it. I can see why people buy these and like keep buying them. I don't want to buy them and take them apart though. So I don't plan on buying more of them. I bought 2 for office decorations. One's going to go on the wall and one is going to go on my bookshelf, I think. But I bought 2 for my office and I could genuinely see why people buy Legos and keep buying Legos because they're very fun. And we are a, childless household. And I said to my friend, one of my best friends, I was like, as someone who's childless, I am doing all the hobbies that kids would do. And I'm like, I love it so much. I'm over here writing, going to writing class. I'm doing piano, going to volleyball, building Legos, reading books. I'm like, this is the best. At no time am I like, man, I hate this. I absolutely love that I can do all these hobbies. And I will tell you, I will say I've been working a lot. I'm looking at my brick right now on my desk and I haven't scanned that damn thing since mid last week. And I'm just like, Alexis, we need to get back on the train. I've just been working a lot. I will say Thursday and Friday, I was finally able to be like, my inbox was at 0. Like I completed everything I needed to complete that week, which is great. I'm not like an inbox 0 person by any means, but I was just kind of back and forth and prepping for a launch for Anna now too. So I'm just working a lot. I'm just working a lot. So that's been kind of like on my mind as far as like, I need to get back to scanning my brick and not working after 5 p.m. because even though I tell you, I'm like, my hours are 10 to 4. My hours are definitely 10 to 4, but I will tell you, I have been finishing at 4, going to lift, and then going back to work from like 6 to 9:30 at 10 at night. So looking forward to getting back on track with that. I am for sure taking off next Thursday to Monday. I don't know if I might have said this last week. Either way, I'm a big birthday person. Like my birthday is very important to me. I don't know why, but my birthday is very important and it's very, how do I say this? It's just important to me that I'm not doing anything I don't want to do on my birthday or for my birthday. And I fully believe in taking time off for my birthday. So since I've owned my own business, I've taken time off for my birthday. And I always felt like when I was in college, in grad school, and then also working for practices, I didn't like that I had to go do stuff on my birthday. I'm like, this is my birthday. I want to spend it how I want to spend it. So, very grateful to be able to do that now, obviously. But with that being said, I basically turned my birthday into a full weekend. So the weekend prior, I like to take the whole weekend off, which also means today is Saturday, the 21st of February. This episode is, if you're listening on Monday, it will be Monday, February 23rd. I'm going to pre-record next Monday's episode just because I don't want to have to do it next weekend. Again, I love recording, but for me, I like to prep of just having the least amount of stuff to do the weekend before my birthday. It's so silly because it kind of feels to me like when you go on vacation and the 2 days before vacation, you just don't do anything because you're like going on vacation 2 days from now, even though you very much so could do something. Or when you have an appointment at 2 p.m. from like 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., you're like, oh, well, I don't want to do that because I have to leave in 10 minutes. Oh, I don't want to get into that because I have to leave in 10 minutes. But realistically, you could do a whole bunch of stuff and you just feel like you're like waiting around for the appointment. Genuinely, I am the same exact way. So with my birthday. And so I'm like, I don't want to have to do anything. I kind of just want to be able to decide what I want to do or where I'm going to do things and whatever else. So that's like the story. I'm going to pre-record next week's episode after this. And I actually am thinking, I'm going back and forth on a couple topics. I'm excited to do that, get that done. And then, yeah, just kind of, for lack of better terms, enjoy my birthday next week. Okay. So I'm going to switch gears real quick. Like I always do. I'm just like, this is how I live my life, by the way. I'm very tactical and I don't like when I get on calls, I'm like, okay, let's get down to business. Like I care about you and I want to know how you are. And also I want to make sure that we get stuff done. So this is how I am. Next order of business, I'm going to talk about tech stacks, and I'm not going to talk about tech stacks in a way that you assume that I'm going to talk about it. I also want to acknowledge the fact that earlier on in this episode, you heard that I was going to talk about payment processors. And I was like, I already talked about this. I know that I already answered this question. So I did a little flippity-doo-dah, and I'm changing the topic. So I did change the topic. We're talking about tech stacks. So when this question is asked, like, what tech stack do you have? People are oftentimes asking, what technology do you use inside your business? Now, I have an entire blog post about that, so I'm not going to break down what I'm using here because I already did it. And genuinely, like, you can just go read that. I don't need to bore you with that. But the thing is, and I will link it in the show notes, what I do want to talk about, though, is the reverse of what I'm seeing, I will say, online. So what I oftentimes see when it comes to tech and what we use or what people use in their businesses and what technology folks are using to run their business, people will lean on the fact that they have a tech stack. And when I say lean on it, they will say, I have X amount of things that I am going to use in order to make things happen in my business or to make my business run effectively. When it comes to the line of work that I'm in, folks will talk about lots of different options, like 1 million different options. But something that I want to talk about that applies to everyone, and you've all likely heard of it, or you have likely heard of it. People will talk about project management software. Oftentimes it's Notion, it's Monday, there's, what is the other one? ClickUp. There is Asana is what I used to call it. There are multiple different software options that exist for what we call project management. Now, this can also be interchangeable kind of with CRM, like HubSpot, etc. But what I want to go over and what I want to just say out loud that I actually do not think it's said enough is that you don't need any of this stuff for your business. And I'm going to preface that, or I'm going to not preface it. I'm going to say now, after I've said that, you need to know what you need. So what I see often is folks will say, here's my tech stack. And then people will respond to that and they'll be like, oh my God, you're using that thing. I should probably be using that too. Or, oh my goodness, you're optimizing this by using this and you're doing this thing. I should probably do that too. Now, that's not harmful because I do think that we all have things that we can learn from each other. We all have different ways of doing things that may benefit someone else. And if we're able to share those things and someone else benefits from it, amazing. But when it comes down to what you're actually using in your business, what I have seen happen is people will add things to their business just to like add things, not because they actually need it, or they will add things. It won't feel good for them. And then they'll feel like they have to keep going with it because they thought that they were doing that, or they needed to do that. So I just came up with a new podcast episode for the next episode and I'm writing it down. Email sequences. Stay tuned. I'm going to record that one. You'll see that one next week. But anyway, do you see how my brain works sometimes? I'm like, good idea. You got to write it down. That's a lesson right there. Anytime you have a good idea, write that down, put it somewhere. So when it comes to tech stacks and deciding what am I going to add to my business, there are two things that are really important. One thing is to recognize that whatever is working for someone else may not work for you. An example, folks love Notion. They love ClickUp. They love to like have a task list. I cannot, absolutely cannot, will not do it. I've tried so many times. I've tried different software options. I've tried all the things. It doesn't work for my brain. It genuinely does not work for my brain. So for me, when it comes, and if I had to work on a team with it, I genuinely don't know how I would do because I don't enjoy managing tasks in that way. Like just speaking genuinely, I don't know how I would do with that because it would be really tough to feel like I have to manage a task or manage tasks and stuff within the business that way. So I'm not sure, but regardless, my brain doesn't work that way. And I know there are other people who feel the same exact way. Their brain does not work in a space where they have to do all these tasks in order to just check the box that the task is done, or like put all their tasks step by step in this little box checker software. Some people just don't like it and it doesn't work for their brain and it doesn't make them work quicker, faster, whatever word you want to use there. And so the message with that is don't feel like you need to fit yourself into a box that everyone else is in. And what I mean by that is you don't have to use something just because it's like widely used. If you don't feel like it's fitting how you work or your values or how you prefer to do things, then don't use it. We all have to go back. It's like saying, a rudimentary example would just be like, I have a vacuum that's really good, or we have a vacuum that's really good for pet hair. If you don't have a dog, if you don't have well, Moose doesn't shed, but Rupert does. But if we were to have a German Shepherd and we have a vacuum that needs to be good to vacuum up pet hair, but you don't have a pet, the vacuum that I use probably isn't necessary for you. It's the same thing for our brains. And I think we just kind of put ourselves in this other bucket. We're like, it doesn't apply. But if your brain does not work in a certain fashion, and you will know very quickly if these software options work for you or not, if your brain doesn't work that way, you don't have to force it. Like you genuinely do not need to force it. And number two, the thing that I do believe, again, is just not said enough, is it doesn't have to be complicated. And in a world where there are a bazillion options for software and a million things you could add for whatever purpose, whether it's automations, it's like, I don't know, using a robot to answer a chat. I don't know. It's a bunch of different software options out there that you can add to your business. I want you to know that you don't have to make it more complicated than it is. One of the example that I use all the time for that is I manage my entire business with Google Drive. And I know that sounds like, if I say that in a room full of folks who do the work that I do, they would probably look at me and be like, you manage everything in Google Drive? Like you don't use Monday or ClickUp or Notion is a big one. I hate Notion. And I manage everything through Google Drive because it works for me. Now, there's a difference between doing things because you just don't want to accept, something that comes along that is actually better and you just don't know how to use it and whatever else. And the difference from that of you're using something just because you think you should. And you're adding software platforms to your business because you think you should. And where I always go with that example is some sort of big CRM, right? So some sort of software where it manages your clients, it manages who calls you, they get put into random email nurturing sequences or funnels, whatever we call them. And, you just chuck them into this funnel. If you don't feel good about that and you don't feel like it's useful to your business, you don't have to do that. And that's the same thing where it comes down to what are your values and what do you feel necessary for your business. And you don't need to fit yourself into a bucket just because all these other people are doing it, or the people in your coaching program are doing it, or the people over here, had success with it. If it doesn't work for you, or if it doesn't fit your overall values or how you want things to be inside your business, then you don't have to do it. And you don't have to have this big complicated tech stack just because other folks do. And having a big tech stack isn't even necessary. I will tell you the tech stack for my practice for when I owned the PT clinic, that was JNapp, Squarespace for a website, ConvertKit for email marketing, Spruce Health for text and phone. That's it. That's all that there was. And then Google Drive, obviously, that's where I managed, people who called, yada, 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 call log. That's it. It was those 5 things. And nothing else was needed outside of that. Oh, and I'm lying. TrueCoach, another thing. So TrueCoach. And that was the tech stack. So you don't need to have these big platforms and add cost to your practice just because a bunch of other folks are doing it. You genuinely just don't have to. And that is what it is. And you can just accept that is good for them, not for you. And it's not something that you need. And it all comes down, like whether or not you need something or don't need something, it comes down to 1, how you actually function and how your brain works. And then 2, how you want things to look, feel, be, and exist within your business, which both things come back to your values and what feels good for you. And that's really the biggest chat that I have on tech. And when folks are like, oh, what tech are you using? And I'm always just like so apprehensive to say what tech I'm using because I don't want folks to be like, oh, well, you're using this thing. Should I use this thing? Again, because it doesn't matter. If it works for me, that doesn't mean it's going to work for you and vice versa. Okay, friends, that's all I've got for you. It's a pretty simple message, but super important because I feel like it's something that's talked about all the time. If you relate, let me know. If you have questions, let me know. And if you want to make sure you get notified about the birthday sale, make sure you add yourself to my email list if you're not there already. Alrighty, friends, I will catch you next week. Thank you so much for listening. I just messed that up, didn't I? Thank you so much for listening. I will catch you next time.